Go. You guys on my channel, if you guys are hearing me okay and want to just maybe give me a shout and let me know, that would be great. Oh, Jesus, somebody just messaged me. There's a, I'll put it in chat.
What?
Did you see the message I just got?
You got there, Exigeous?
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, we're all on now, so I don't know if everyone's on. I think.
Yep, pretty much
I
on.
think we are.
Different times here.
So
Yep,
this
I think we
perfect entrance and whatnot else. We
Good.
definitely have a
Okay,
proper
then.
intro, right?
Yeah, well,
we should
we're
come
all
up with a
here now.
proper intro, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, whatever works, this works.
We could be a little,
Good,
I guess,
isn't it?
heaven forbid we be, you know, like come together and official, right?
Well, hey. Kind of represent the community in the larger scale, I suppose. So, well, you know, trying our best would be a good thing and whatnot else. Anyways, so greetings then to everyone who's watching, listening in on my end, Obsidians or Exigeuses or paroxsyms, and so yeah. Hopefully everyone's having a wonderful Friday and all that stuff. So, well, we're gonna be discussing a little bit what little there is to be discussed about the Elite Dangerous Beyond series, Horizons Season Pass, the 3.1, Chapter
2.
2. Yes, there we go. Fucking hell! Seriously, they should. I understand developers and whatnot else are not the greatest people at coming up with names, but seriously, they have marketing teams for crying out loud. Anyways, that's just me nitpicking things. So anyways.
Wait till the next chapter.
Oh, yeah,
Gotta keep
definitely.
the Beyond tagline.
Then we have like Elite Dangerous Horizon Season or another season name insert here. Beyond or something, another prefix, Space Legs update, something. Anyways, that aside. Well, there's plenty of things I suppose we could discuss, and you know what? Since the last time, paroxsym didn't really speak that much. Yes, paroxsym, you'll start us off on a small little change, perhaps, that you found interesting, or at least the first change from the patch we got.
Well, I'll just talk about the crate for a brief moment then.
Seriously, you want to jump into that already?
Well, I'm going to start with that because it's first and foremost in my mind. I've got a lot of
at least take the
opinions.
easy time and the hard time.
Well, I've got a lot of mixed opinions on this one because a lot of people are like, "This thing is amazing and it's great." Blah 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 blah. Me personally, I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'm actually having more trouble with that ship than I am. Like an unmodified crate, I'm having more trouble with that ship than I am with an unmodified Challenger, for instance. It just, I don't know if that ship and I just don't agree with each other or what. But combat wise, I'm thinking it's a little overhyped because that thing is pissing me off. General purpose and a lot of other things though, it seems to do quite well. High jump range. You know, you can outfit the thing to do damn near anything you want. You know, pretty much like the Python, Conda, etc. It seems to do okay as an anti-Xeno, you know, in an anti-Xeno setup. I haven't really tested that out too much just yet. And I don't have access to the Guardian weapons to really give that a true go, so I'm stuck using AX multi-cannons, flak, and the missiles, but it seems to do just fine for the most part so far.
You know what I hear? I hear
What?
that paroxsym needs to get good.
You know what I hear?
Oh man, starting off good today.
I hear TheYamiks is a little bitch.
Oh, bitch. Okay. So I'm not bitching about
it. Seems like one of those is a revelation and ones we've known forever.
Wonder which one's which, huh?
I don't know. I was just thinking the same thing.
Well, hey, at least I can destroy a fucking Cyclops with AX weapons. I am not complaining about that, see? Yeah.
But no, the ship is like, it seems fine. I just don't really like it for combat, which I think is kind of a shame. Smuggling, it'll do really well. I don't know if anyone's tried this yet. But try spooling up the FSD while you're still fuel scooping, and you'll come out the other side without even overheating and jumping to the next system almost immediately. Like, that thing can jump between systems like no one's business, and I'm kind of in love with it for that. Like, it's kind of nice. You know, I don't know. My impressions here is the thing's not much of a fighter, but it'll be one hell of a smuggler and cargo runner.
Yeah. I think I'll probably use it as an exploration ship as well, quite possibly.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you.
I have a different opinion.
Sure, why not? Let's just, there's nothing better to talk about for intro. Sure, let's just talk about the biggest thing in the fucking patch. Let's just pop the cork right. I mean, what will people have to watch afterwards? Seriously.
Well, we'll talk about
everything.
the Challenger.
Where's the cock tease?
Everyone wants to talk about that.
Oh, fucking fine. Exigeous, you had something to say, so go. Fucking go.
Well, I guess I would say that I'm going to be basically completely disagree with paroxsym. Now, that said, I'll preface by saying, what is this unengineered you speak of? I had modules ready to go, so I haven't flown it unengineered yet. So I'll preface with that. But so far, I find it actually. I mean, I've only had 2 or 3 fights in it, but I find it absolutely fantastic for combat. To me, I see it as a more maneuverable gunship with better hardpoint placement, or I freaking love the 2 mediums hanging right there visually. It's just, they're so beautiful to see. I don't use multi-cannons much, but I threw a set on just so I could watch them fire and sat there for a minute or 2 watching them fire and loved it. I think it's super maneuverable. The visibility is fantastic. And I've so far I've only flown it as a hull tank, where it was similar to, say, it felt similar to, say, a Chieftain, maybe a Faz in terms of armor. But what I played with last night and I haven't had a fight like this yet, but I unlocked one of the surprises. I don't think any of us knew this was coming, the Guardian Shield module and hull reinforcements.
They showcased it in the stream, but
that,
okay. No.
Yeah, okay, but the stream right before
yeah,
launch,
pretty much.
Yeah. And so, once I stacked it with shield reinforcements, which I think is going to be seemingly a new meta for shield, and thank God, because we definitely needed something for shields. I went with cell banks without a fighter bay, granted, which you would want, but I was easily able to get just shy of 4,000 megajoules of shields out of it, right? Which is more than an FDL. It's at least as maneuverable. It's got more DPS. You've got a fighter. I was expecting to like the Challenger much more, since I've flown the Chieftain for PvP for the last several months, or actually since release. And I flew it once and was like, am I in a Chieftain or a Challenger? Because if you didn't tell me, I wouldn't know the difference. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And obviously we'll see a lot of it because it just released, but I think we're going to see, like, the Chieftain in PvP, it's around and everything, but it was around a lot, obviously, at first. I think the Crate's going to really stick around in PvP.
Crate in PvP.
But as I prefaced with, I have not flown it unengineered yet. So
unengineered, the shields are absolute trash. Like,
okay, so trash. To give you concrete facts here. So first of all, it's Python. Crate is a motherfucking Python. That's all it is. It has less shields. It has less armor. It has faster, straight line speed, and very slightly better pitch speed. That's it. Everything else is the fucking same. And of course, in
higher DPS. Because of
the
fighter.
DPS between the
fighter. Yeah, okay,
well,
fighter.
yeah,
Preface it with that, yeah, sure. Fine.
Right. And
That
remember,
case,
in
yeah, you're right.
PvP, that's a huge difference because you've got something that can constantly keep your enemy shields from regenning with the fighter. So
Yep.
that is, I mean, it's a really big difference, right?
Yep. Okay, so in that case, yeah, it definitely will be better in that case, but the issue is mostly with the fact that it's still a Python, and well, Python in PvP, well, Python in itself is pretty decent. Sure, yeah, if you hull tank it properly, yeah, it will sustain the damage quite well. But the problem is its maneuverability, and maybe that fighter will do something about it, but I highly doubt it. FTLs will still win it. Rather win in a fight against it easily.
I'm going to disagree with that. Right?
Are you
We're
talking
gonna have to
about
see.
combat for PvP or PvE?
PvP, I
guys.
presume. PvE, they're about the same.
Yeah, that I would agree with.
Because that
Yeah,
fighter
I've
in
done
PvE
PvP,
version...
I've found it to be really good for PvE. I don't PvP, so...
Oh, hey, me neither,
Yeah,
but then
what?
again, there are details that you do pick up if you try it at least a couple of times, or get butt-fucked a couple of times, so... I got the ladder most of the time, so yeah, oh, there you
We had fun. We laughed.
No, not only against you, everyone!
Oh, okay.
No, I really like the way the crate feels. I think it handles a little bit different to the Python. That might just be subjective, but
It's
Oh,
completely
massively
subjective.
so.
and that
No, massively handles different than the Python.
How? How?
Oh, it's faster. It's more. I mean,
maneuverable.
again, fully
Maneuverable.
engineered. My Python maxes out, combat outfit at like 470, 475, where my crate is more like 535, right? And the pitch and yaw rates are much better.
No.
I mean, I hate
that
flying
is
the
just no.
Python,
You
right?
don't
And
think
I
they're the
love
same?
flying the crate.
I need to recheck the stats on my engineered modules for crate, but when it comes down to unengineered stuff, the only stat different in pitch, your all pitch speeds is pitch speed, and that's slightly better, just like 3 or 2 degrees faster on pitch speed. That's it. Everything else is the same. So, okay, yeah, sure. I need to retest this properly to know it completely, but.
hold on, I'm actually
Maneuverability-wise, it's about
checking.
the same.
So if it's the same, do you think it could be the
Right.
cockpit that gives the impression it's more
Yes,
maneuverable? Obviously,
definitely.
it's much wider field of view, though,
Probably.
isn't there?
Definitely. See, if you pilot a beluga, if you ever had piloted beluga or even a cutter, something like a cutter, you'll see, or you'll definitely witness the different yaw turn rate speeds because you're at the tail end of, or rather just one of the ends, because the ship has a center of gravity that barely turns and what it else, but the ends do turn quite faster. Centrifugal force. There we go. All that nonsense. There is a subjective take on it, but it still is the same speed. In fact, obviously, oh wait, no, it wasn't Cutter. Cutter had the slowest pitch speed, but not the yaw speed. Right. The yaw speed slowest was for the time. Or whatever the case is, it's subjective at this point. If you do a test comparison side by side, you're probably gonna see a proper thing. So, unless you actually get some facts to present for me, son, I'll take
John
that only as a
posted.
subjective thing.
Posted in right now.
Posting your facts.
Well, I just in chat for us. I'm looking it up on beta, assuming beta.coriolis is correct.
That's engineered or non-engineered?
This is I just slapped on an engineered thruster, and that's it. Just to
okay.
compare that.
Yeah.
And so there's the differences. And so granted, from those numbers, it's very minor, right? It's
roll
rolls
speed is
120 a
super
second.
minor, and pitch is the
Right.
only one. Yaw rates, I don't
Yaw
know.
rates.
Okay,
are
maybe
exactly the
that
same.
whole the whole mass, that the fact that the crate is again slightly, well, maybe not slightly, but still lighter, then yeah, sure, it might turn more if you engineer it, maybe, but I don't know. Again, it's stats, and we need to test this stuff. So
Yeah.
at this point, just take it as speculation rather than facts. So yeah.
My gut does say that it's going to be a shield tank, though, over a whole tank from flying it yesterday. I think it's interesting that it's pretty
a
damn
Python,
close to
mate.
both. Right.
Python's a hull tank. This thing's a hull
Yeah,
tank.
but I don't think it's going to be with a prismatic and stacking those boosters and stuff. I think it's going to be best used as a shield tank. That's going to be that's my early prediction. We'll see. You know,
Well,
obviously everybody's going to have to get a hold of it for a while.
When I've been
but-
using it, I haven't had it drop below 2 rings. We got some.
Well,
Transmitting some
someone's got
copyrighted music, I see. Obsidian.
Somebody's got some
Okay.
music going.
Trying to content ideas. Okay.
Yes. Oh yeah, he
Now.
doesn't care about that,
Shame
does
up
he?
a That's the ice cream man. Ice cream's for everyone, eh?
Crushing the little guy. Oh, that was the ice cream.
hey, I could go.
It was,
Yeah,
yeah.
I could go for
Oh,
some
I'd
of that
take
right about now.
I'd take some ice
Yeah.
cream.
He's taking advantage of the hot weather.
Ice cream, you
I would be
scream,
too
we
if
all
I was
scream
that
for
guy.
ice cream.
Now,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
so to the crate, one thing I would say somebody actually just said in my chat, it is a pretty great multi-role in the sense that it's a medium multi-role that's fun to fly with great visibility. It's good for piracy. It's good for combat. It's good for, we can argue how good, but it's good for combat. It's decent for exploration. It's certainly good for just jumping around in. I mean, it's a surprise to me.
I mean, it's a fucking Python, and judge it as a fucking Python. There you go. You'll know how good it is on combat and everything else if you just look at the fucking Python. And Python is
Well,
godlike. So
I've got
this
to be
is
perfectly honest. I've never really used a Python much.
See, I hate the Python.
heresy.
I know, but I
Don't
haven't.
feel bad. I've barely flown one, so yeah, you're not the
I
only
hear
one.
heresy. I hear heresy.
I hate the Python so
One of
much.
your
I use it
favorite
as my
ships,
mining
Yami?
ship.
That's what I did. I set one
That's
up
what
for
I did.
mining. That's
Yeah.
how I unlocked Celine Jean.
Yeah,
I've got.
same
That's
here.
the only reason
actually.
I've used a Python for mining, and I called it the bin.
You still used
Nice,
it.
nice.
You still used it.
Yeah, but not in combat.
Still, Python's godlike, and screw you if you think differently.
Does anybody? A friend of mine pointed out. Does anybody think the crate looks like they took an asp and cut it in half down the side? You know, down the side and just called it a day. I mean, I know it's from the
yeah,
lore, but I think it's ugly
yeah,
as
pretty
sin.
much. Sounds about
Right.
right.
It looks pretty decent if you turn it upside down.
I do
was
like
gonna
the
say,
way
if you turn
that
it upside down. It's like a whole different chip.
I do like the like kind of the ram air looking intakes on the top for the engines. I do think that looks kind of sweet. But other than that, I'm definitely not a fan.
Because there's definitely air in space, right?
Well, of course, of course. Well, no, it's for
Definitely.
our atmospheric landings. See, it doesn't tease space legs; it teases
Right.
atmospheric landings.
For atmospheric landings, you'd think that, oh, well, you know, making it top, sort of bottom heavy, and very sort of short on the bottom. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. And definitely making this thing a literal plane, you know, not a plane as a aircraft, but as just a square
Flat.
plane. Yeah,
Yeah.
flat thingamajig. Definitely going to be aeronautic, yeah.
Someone's actually asking me, Yamiks, what you think of the duct tape. Wants me to ask you what you think of the duct tape.
Oh, God.
I've already heard that one.
No.
I was
Yeah,
on
no.
stream with him yesterday for that answer.
No. Moving on.
Yeah.
I think
No,
Roxan's got another great.
no,
game.
Yeah, that one. That got okay. So this one surprised the crap out of me, and I was not expecting it. I took the Challenger out just to try it out, and you know, it's a hull tank. You know, just like the Chieftain, right? So I'm like, okay, so I'm not
It
going
is
to
the
bother
Chieftain.
with. Not quite. I'll get to that.
I mean, but it's pretty. Yeah.
So I don't bother putting shield cells on it or anything like that. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. All right, yeah. Normally, you know, before this patch, you would take some module damage naturally, and you know, some missile splash damage and what have you. Now your shields go down, they will deliberately try and power plant snipe you. And it's kind of frightening. They will disable your drives and then snipe your plant, and it's frightening because they are better at it than players are.
Have you noticed what, like,
Well, they get aimbot,
were they elite class? Were they dangerous class? Do you remember? Or deadly class? Do you remember?
I think one that did that was master. The others were dangerous and deadly.
Okay. I'm kind of happy that the dangerous deadly commander, NPCs would do it. Maybe all the way, not all the way down to master. Maybe that's a bit OP for some new commanders.
But suddenly, out of nowhere, like 6 fucking eagles with goddamn rails pop up, and you're dead.
So where were they? Where did you see those ships?
I was in Hazres in my player faction's home system, and I was just doing my thing, trying to get a feel for the ship. And at first I thought it was the ship, but to verify, I went and got my chieftain out of storage and brought that out and did the exact same thing. And I got the exact same results from a similar situation. They will purposely target your drives and power plant when your shields go down, and they are damn good at it. Yeah. So
quite a change.
Yeah, because I came out with a net loss. I came out with a net loss after a single fight in both cases because my power plant was on 2%, I think, when I came out of the fight the second time, and it cost me 600,000 to repair. And I only got like 200K from killing one of the 3 guys I was in a fight with. Like prior to this update, I would have been able to win the fight without a problem. Now, whole tank PvE, forget it. Like, can't do it.
Could you do it even before?
Oh yeah, I was able to tank the ATR for like 6 or 7 minutes straight.
But normally, PvE, normally, bounty hunting with the whole tank, really
is not a good idea. I mean, you can do it, but I would agree with where you're going, Yamiks, that generally that's not a good idea, right? Because if you're slowly taking even hull damage or even a little module damage, if we're talking old school, right? Exactly, right. So it's always, in my opinion, it's always better. Like a bi-weave setup could be fine for it, right? But you don't want to set up where you're routinely losing where you're routinely losing your shields, though, right?
Well, it definitely seems the NPCs have changed. Did you guys hear about the new signal sources?
I did.
Actually,
I read it. Don't even know what that is about.
Yeah, I haven't. Go ahead.
Someone saw someone on. Sorry, excuse me. Someone saw one on Twitch yesterday streaming. I think it was Nat's right. She was streaming and saw a. Yeah, she saw a distress signal 3, no 6.
Okay, I've heard of a 7 as well.
Yeah, so it seems there's ones above 5 now. I don't think there were previously, was there? Only Thargoid stuff went above 5 previously.
Yeah, that's right. And it wasn't because I thought the friend that was telling me about it was like, oh, we've had the unknown non-human signal source for a while. He's like, no, this isn't non-human.
These are regular ones, with
exactly
with advanced human ships in there. Looks like they're basically engineered ships.
Personally, I think that's great.
That's what it seems like, anyway.
When it comes down to the whole power plant sniping, I mean, players do it, right? Obviously, the ones that are more experienced, they will do it. So, putting that power plant sniping trigger, I suppose, for like elite, dangerous, or deadly enemies, that would make it more realistic in some way. And if it's done, yeah. But if it's a fucking novice or whatnot else, no, just no. The question is whether or not those, beginner buttfuck boys are going for your plant or not.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to, I'll have to jump into my alt account where I'm, I don't even think I've ever done combat in it and go see, like, if I get engaged in a Sidewinder, are they going to start doing that to me in a Sidewinder, or is it...
In a Sidewinder, you're going to be destroyed before your power plant goes.
Well,
that's a typical thing.
True.
Well, with the signal sources, it's kind of easier because you can just avoid the ones that are 6 and 7 or 5. But if they're happening in res sites, it's a bit different, isn't it? Yeah.
Also, they seem to have really beefed up the strength of some wings. I found in my Hazres there was a wing with an Anaconda and 2 Titans.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
okay.
was.
That's a fairly beefy.
Type
Yeah,
10 in a
that's
Hazres. Now that's a thing that I've never seen, to be honest.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of new stuff I found in the Hazres yesterday. That's just, yeah. Ugh.
You know, you could have at least written that in the patch notes. Wink,
It'd have been
wink.
nice. It'd have
Is
been
there
nice.
still-
They
is
didn't
there
put
still-
anything about this in there.
Still not really any Imperial ships out there, cutters.
Nope.
Yeah.
No cutters, no
Other than
corvettes.
conflict zones.
No, no
Yeah.
corvettes. Still not seeing
Yeah.
any of them.
You'll find those in the conflict zones.
I was about to say,
if
other than
one or the
conflict
other
Yeah,
zones.
yeah,
side-
still there.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Just wondering
hey,
if you might
Yamiks,
have heard
speaking
if
of
anyone's
patch
seen any.
notes, how'd you like that cable street that cable smoothing in the Anaconda? See,
I
in
have
your video, you didn't say anything, so I couldn't tell what you meant by that.
I have no fucking idea what they changed.
Yeah,
I mean-
you think?
What the fuck did they change? Please show me the difference, because at this point there's still fucking cables around.
And they don't.
What
They
is the
didn't look any
point?
smoother. Or, yeah, I completely agree.
Oh yeah, we polished
good
the
thing that
third.
was- You know, it's
We
maybe
polished
that
the
was
third a
patch
little bit
notes
more. Oh
padding.
yeah, baby.
Yeah, patch notes padding maybe.
I,
Uh,
there are better things to mention than that.
It's my point. Yeah.
Seriously, there are definitely better things to mention than that. That's for sure.
They took the wires from there and put them in the crate. That's what happened.
Yeah, seems like it. Seems like it. God damn it. Fuck me.
And somebody in my chat saying they're just trolling you on purpose, Yamiks.
I have the feeling that they do, yes. I mean, the only thing that's missing from the crate is a goddamn spoiler.
Just wait for the ship kit.
Fuck you.
God. I want a ship kit. I want a ship kit that gets rid of the little, the little tassely nipple rings on the sides, those little pointy nipples. I hate those damn antennas.
Daniel in my chat says the cable tidy is coming on the Frontier store, $9.99.
Yep. Come on down,
does,
everyone.
Yamiks, I'm
Frontier
buying
Store
it
has
for you.
everything, because we definitely still need to, ask upfront price for the game now. Why can't we put it on free to play? I don't fucking know, but Frontier Store, folks. Anyways,
the
moving
new,
on.
Have you guys tried the new voice, Alex?
No,
Don't care.
I listened to it for a brief moment in the livery. That was about it.
I bought it. I'm a fan.
Speaking of buying things, when the ship kit for the crate comes out, I know exactly who I'm sending one to.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Everyone's already.
I mean, why?
That's
Why do
not
you
nice.
torture me?
Because it's fun.
Fuck
Perhaps
you.
with the crate with the ship kit, so have it completely covering the top flat surface. Maybe that's why it's flat.
Hey,
So rather than just wings
maybe.
and spoilers, we'll have a complete cover over.
Maybe.
It may be something really stupid
Like a
eventually.
true body kit. Right.
Yeah, that's sold half a ship body.
Oh my god, so yeah, on my end at least I did arrive on one of the destroyed outposts, and I gotta say, Targoids leave a stink. quite the stink, I must admit.
Is that one of the base sites?
Yep.
Oh, where's that one?
There was
don't know,
one
I
from
could
the
have been-
Reddits. I just
Oh,
pulled.
okay.
Wait, what? I missed that. What are we saying? about the
HIP
target bases?
19284. That is HIP 19284.
Okay, guess we're going
Planet A to D.
We're just having a look
And-
at the crashed Anaconda here.
And what's
not a
going on
crash.
there?
That's basically
Yes.
just a destroyed site. Or rather,
Oh, and,
attacked
like,
site.
A new type of site? Is that what we're saying?
Mm,
Sorry, I missed the beginning of that. My apologies.
It's just a simple little, planetary base, mining base that is attacked. That's it.
Okay, but a Thargoid planetary base, or are we saying the Thargoid's attacked?
Give me a sec. Give me a sec.
Okay. My apologies.
Fucking hell.
My apologies.
There we go. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'll
Right.
post this.
Obsidian, maybe you have any patch note
Thank you.
things that
Thank
you
you.
want to
Now I get it.
mention, aside from the ones that already were mentioned?
No, let's have a look.
Megaship looting.
Yeah, actually, I
Or
did a little bit of that
installation.
yesterday. Tested
Yeah.
the installations. I only did one. I think they're not that easy to find in the game still. I had to go out to a blooming out of game resource. I think it was the Canon website I used to
Well, of course you did.
find one of those. Yeah. I still can't find them actually in the game, but you know, I really like the gameplay there. I mean, it'll get kind of repetitive to do it quite often, but I do like the gameplay. They're using the silent running to loot the cargo hatches or hack the turrets, but it's the rewards again. I don't know if you've seen the rewards.
I have, and I thought the cargo rewards were once again ridiculous. That said, I was very pleasantly surprised with the data rewards. I was getting cracked meth, the cracked industrial firmware, modified embedded firmware for the new guys, whatever the grade 4 is between those two. I was getting it on every second or third log. I probably did it. I don't know. I did it 15 or 20 times, and I actually maxed out one of my datas, which I've never done before. Right.
You know,
so I was very pleasantly surprised with that. And I think it's more fun. You know, my question is, if you guys know, the data that you can pretty much only get from the planetary, like the little bases where you go scan one data point, scan another, and you've got so many minutes kind of thing. Right. I'm wondering if that same data is what shows up at the installations and megaships, because if it is, I would much rather do that than the planetary's puzzles.
If you mean the Guardian stuff?
No. I'm talking. Have to get again things like modified embedded firmware, and there's a few that like a security firmware patch, things like that you can, I think, only get. You use that app ED Pathfinder, and again you go to the little outpost bases where you can't land at them. You land outside the exclusion zone, and then you do the you scan the first data terminal, and it gives you 1 minute to go scan the next one, and then you get another minute to find the third one.
Yep.
Yeah, those. I think the installations and potentially megaships give that same data, and to me, it's much easier, certainly, and I find it much more fun. I mean, I built a DBS for it, and was going silent constantly and hacking the thing, and I was like, this is actually kind of fun. So that was probably my biggest pleasant surprise of quote unquote gameplay so far, right? And I've had a couple of my chat at least confirm that it is the same data that you get out of both. So if that's true, I would much rather do those than the surface stuff.
Well, I found some good data on the crashed Anaconda that was discovered last night.
Oh, there's a new one discovered?
Yeah. There's two data points there, and you can get cracked industrial firmware and a bunch of other stuff from there.
Is
and
it the same? Like, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's also repeatable. So if you log out and log back in again, the data you can collect again. There's no
game cheesing. Hey Sandy, yes. This is what happens when you put in pretty bad things in the game. This is a slight reference to LaveCon when we were talking with Sandy, and he mentioned basically cheesing the game and what it does. Basically these sorts of moves where you just log in, log back in, So yeah, here we are doing that basically.
He's not a big fan of that, then I take it.
Nope, no one is. No one likes to log back in. We all want that immersion, but that immersion is broken as soon as you open another window, and that is with Galaxy Map. That's with the Galnet, and the same goes with going back to the menu, especially going back to the menu.
Yeah. And so, Ant, I was kind of asking, does that crash also have the cargo racks for minerals?
It does have some cargo racks there. Yeah, I didn't actually break them open, so I don't know what was in them.
Okay, and is it how flat is the terrain compared to the that second one that was discovered?
Yeah, you can land around there quite easily. Not quite on top of it, obviously, but it's pretty easy.
All right,
there's a Thargoid that turns up there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I won't spoil it anymore, but.
And Proxim is at the site you posted in chat.
Proxim got the details. Yeah, he's got the details.
Yeah. Go Proxim.
About it earlier.
Oh.
Yeah.
Proxsym will be with us shortly.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm in the
disappeared.
middle of a bit of a sneezing fit right now. Give me a
You're
minute.
good. You're good. So I guess I'll change it here. But ask Ant, what's been your favorite thing so far? Favorite new thing or change?
Well, probably like a lot of people, I really like the crate.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to become my go-to ship. I always use a Sidewinder, mainly because it's just pretty
Best
much
ship in the
versatile.
game.
It's got a great cockpit view. I don't like
Love
the
the
big ships
Sidewinder.
anyway, and I don't do a lot of combat, so just very easy to get around and adapt the ship to whatever you want it for. And it looks like the crate is going to be a good replacement for that. So yeah, really like the crate. Do like the mega ships, not the mega ships, the installation interactions as well, but it's the rewards are a bit off there. Hopefully at some point they'll put some missions in there, eh?
Okay, here's a question for you then on the rewards there. What do you think, and we've talked about stuff like this before, and I have a number in my head, what do you think an appropriate amount of rewards to make that risk/gameplay worth it?
I don't know that it needs to be a credit value in a strict sense of the word. It just needs to be, if it's going to be cargo, then it needs to be cargo that's either unique or worth going there for.
Okay.
Like I say, if they give you a mission to go and obtain 5 of these, and go and obtain 5 of them. Yeah, it's an old trope,
Okay.
it's a repetitive mission type, but at least you've got a reason to go there. I know some people say, I've said that in a video before, and people have said, well, why do you need a reason to go there? If you want to go there, just go there. But
Okay,
it's
you
nice
can
to have a
go
bit
to
of a-
many places, but what's the point of going there, right? Again, this is a game. It's a piece of entertainment. Yeah? And a piece of entertainment's task is to do what again? Entertain you. Or at least give you some initiative to entertain, yourself with the tools it offers. And here the game does barely any of that.
Well, it's an old problem, isn't there, Yamiks, with people seeming to want the game to be a job.
Does anybody want it to be a job?
Well,
I get what you're saying.
I've seen people say you grind in real life. You have to do the same old things in real life. What's the problem with doing them in Elite? You know.
call that
Difference
bullshit.
is,
This is a game.
for grinding in
Yeah.
real life, you get paid. For grinding
Exactly.
in here, you're paying them. That's the fucking difference there.
That's exactly the
There
difference.
you go. Yeah.
Well, this
And
is a
here's the
game.
thing,
I don't come
if
I don't
none
come
of
to
us-
the game to simulate real life. Like,
Oh,
Well,
Also,
and let's put it
that's
this
true.
way: if in real life we found a gold rush, so we didn't have to grind real life, wouldn't we take it? Of course we would, right?
That's
those are probably
why-
the same people that say we shouldn't have gold rushes, right?
That's why black market exists, and that's why drug lords and stuff like that exist too.
Right.
Just
That's right.
saying.
That's-
Reality, yay!
Sorry, I got to throw this one. Somebody in my chat just said, "I bet Yamiks manages a strip bar. If he doesn't, he should."
Well,
We don't talk about that. He's going to say.
you give me potato, I'll let you know. where to
If they
find
ever give you
something.
an in-game asset, Yamiks, it should be an installation that's Yamiks's for out there hideaway or something like that.
No, probably people want a dead horse something. Probably, I don't know. Put
Yeah,
in the
that's
chats
true,
what you
probably.
want to see. I mean, I'd much rather prefer a creator's hub as a remark,
Ooh,
or rather a little
That'd be cool. Yeah.
recognition of
For
our all
everybody.
work.
Everyone. Yeah,
yeah,
I would agree with
but,
that. Right?
Who the fuck knows whether or not that would ever happen? Oh well. Maybe with mega ships, or I mean the fleet carriers. Yay! Nope.
Well,
I highly doubt it.
No, let's not theorycraft. Yamiks
Dave
Gentlemen's
Z.
Club. Here we go.
David, you see this as a Yamiks rubber duck shop.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. That'd be a
Yeah.
good one.
Okay.
That would be an in-game asset you would buy at that installation. Yamiks's rubber ducky. Right, like the Hutton Orbital mug.
It's a rare commodity.
Sure, why not?
And you know what? If Yamiks has
You're not so
this,
sure, you're not so sure, are you, Yamiks?
yeah, if Yamiks
I
has a
mean-
strip club in Dame, we have a reason for space legs.
Yes. Yes. My immersion needs to improve there.
Boy, we're really off the rails today, aren't we?
I mean, what do you expect when there's basically nothing to talk about?
We're kind of stretching it, aren't
You know
we?
what? I do want to ask you guys. I don't know if we. When did the trailer for the crate come out? Was that this week or was that last week? Did we talk about it?
That
in the
was
last
about. That was on the Monday, if I remember correctly.
So we haven't had a chance to talk about it together yet, have we?
No, we haven't actually. No. You're talking about kind of the space.
If you want to, basically, what folks are gonna see right now is basically 4 guys, grown-up guys, analyzing a fucking trailer. Not even 2-minute trailer.
Sounds exciting.
I'm so fucking cynical right now, but
we are BuzzFeed, yes.
oh my god, no. Anyways, carry on.
Well,
Let's hear your thoughts.
I know it's in there. I just want to know what you thought of it.
I mean, I
mediocre.
Don't know, like,
More to the point, what did you think of the approach they took with it?
or
Teasing
teasing the things that we don't have, that triggers me a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, stop teasing it if you're not gonna let me have it. Like, that's mean.
Right. Well, in short, I can describe you quickly what at least my cynical ass perceives from the trailer. So first off, the trailer was overall edited very mediocrely, I'd say. The whole, well, no, not disgusting, but the voiceover. There we go. Voiceover over basically generic, very simplistic shots. Not even pretty shots. Animation of the guy moving. Okay, there were again. I know this game is not big on animations and all that stuff, but god damn it, that the guy's moving animation sort of was very similar to something like 2004 game animation, and not trailer. I mean in-game animations.
Yep.
And if you want to see, this is basically a little bit about sausage or how the sausage is made. If you take a look at the trailer, at the very shot where the guy stops, you can see him clipping straight to the basically that end position. That was the funniest thing I saw. I mean, okay, he walks, clips. Okay, it's very minute detail, but it's still a detail that they could have animated out, considering animation level on Jurassic Borg game. We know that they have animators that know what the fuck they're doing. So, what happened with this one? I guess it was a quick rush job. I guess you can call it that. Maybe, maybe not. Again, there's just that level of detail, also level of effort being put in. Obviously, this is just a trailer and what else. It doesn't need to be too crazy. This was probably one of the worst trailers we've gotten. Again, if you compare that one to Ramta's trailer, there's a clear difference where the effort went.
Enormous, yeah.
Indeed. With this one, they couldn't even do the fucking walking animation properly. I'm like, the fuck? Unless they are actually using built space legs or prototype for it or something like that, then sure. But still, and the another thing that you notice with animation, not maybe errors but overlooked details, was the lift goes up, the lift stops, the guy's only one leg kind of moves, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? What
really?
kind of
I'm gonna look at it real quick. Hold on.
It was of course the whole body a little bit, moving, but it was specifically that one leg moving slightly, and that was the most of action you get from lift actually stopping. Your whole body stopping at that point. Inertia. There's basically no inertia or feel for it. But other than that, again, yeah, they're basically teasing the space legs, obviously, about the whole thingamajig, and putting aside the amateurish level of animating in general, yeah, it's just a fucking blue ball for space legs. for everything else, you'd think that, oh, okay, they're just showcasing, more stuff that you obviously can't do in the game. That often is a thing with games, really.
I was gonna say, isn't that pretty common with games, cinematic trailers?
Indeed, that's
you
a common
say?
thing, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
this was clearly done with in-game engine, with the in-game tools, and sure, some animations on top of it. But again, if you compare the level of effort put into the Ramta trailer and this one, you can see clearly that they didn't give a fuck, or just rushed it out, or I don't know what happened there. But there's not as much effort put into animations as much as you get in the Ramta thingamajig. So
I think a lot of people noticed that, and it's kind of what led to the speculation with Space Legs, and the trailer perhaps having been done with in-game assets rather than before being done in a more cinematic form. Yeah,
I've been wondering about that.
Showing stuff that they've actually got in-game now. Is that what it was?
Could be. I guess maybe I just hate the idea of Space Legs so much. I don't want to see that. Because that's not at all how I saw it. I just saw it as a shitty cinematic trailer, right? I mean, you've got a good point, Ant. I didn't think about the fact that it really is much more, in-game assets. Maybe, I guess my question would be, is it in-game assets because they did it the lazy way out, and that was the faster way to do it because they've got a game engine and they could code something around it that way easier than doing a full rendered animation? Or are they teasing that, right? I mean, I think the community is seeing a lot. I think this is common, right? Seeing a lot of what they want to see in something like that. Yeah, right. Which of course is common, right?
But then,
and I'll be, let's put it this way: I'd be stunned if we get Space Legs before we get planetary, atmospheric planets, and we haven't heard anything on that, unless I've missed something in quite a while. So I would be, because I know they've said they kind of wanted to do Space Legs, but haven't they always said that's something that's basically way down the line?
Developers constantly say, well, we want to do it, it's somewhere on the list, or we could put it on the list, and these sort of rhetorics that just throw away dismissive lines that they do.
Yeah.
I would love if they were.
I don't know, if you watch
vocabulary.
If you can't listen to the way Frontier have always talked about stuff in the past, when something's definitely not coming for a long time, they always say that's a long way away, or that's on the cards, or it's on the list. They say sort of something like that just to, because they basically don't want to say, oh, we're not doing that. So they just say, yeah, it's on the list, but it's a long way off. But when things get to the point where they're going to start making announcements, they start saying we've got nothing to announce. They change the way they start talking about it. I don't know if you've noticed that, but that's something they've done pretty much since day one.
Yep.
And if you notice, with atmospheric planets and with Space Legs, they've stopped saying that's a long way away and started saying we've got nothing to announce.
Right. Because I think they're realizing everybody's catching on to the fact that there's only so many times you can keep saying, right, that, how many times you can say, oh, is Terjan joining us?
Yeah,
I'll
pop in.
I see you got very anxious there.
Well,
so, what you got to say?
Hey, well, I've got one comment. It's about the Crates bridge, essentially. Because, when you're in VR and you make story videos, you spend a lot of your time trying to see how far you can get around these bridges to look for good shots, and go, where can I go? Can I get that? Can I get back there? Oh, what's there? And a lot of the time it's some crappy textures and you think, oh, well, that's not worth, I can't really use that in a shot. I can see all like demarcation lines. I stuck my head through the hull. Oh. But when you look in the Crates bridge, it's the first one I've actually looked at in VR where I think, bloody hell, this one is designed to be walked in.
I was thinking that about the Chieftain in the first place, to be honest.
The New Alliance ships are, they've got a much better resolution of stuff in the background to them. But the crate itself, it just has that feel. I play a game that's From Other Suns in VR, and you're walking around ships in that one and playing around with things. And for a split second, when I first put the headset on and I was looking at the crate cockpit, it felt like I was in From Other Suns. And I haven't had that with any other bridge and thing. So to me, it feels like it's specifically designed with that in mind. Not tomorrow, obviously, but they've put the legwork in already in that bridge. Preparation for legs, as it were, I think.
Oh,
there they go.
All the extremities. They put in all the extremities towards it. Yes.
Yeah, get some extremities.
Including a coffee maker.
Yeah, and a little model of the original crate as well.
Yeah,
There's a little,
your
little block model just behind the
image of that
left
crate
multi-crew.
Yeah, that
Such
was
a nice
kind of a
detail.
little
It's
Easter
such a
egg.
nice
Yeah, I
detail.
agree. I agree.
Now,
That is a nice
you can
little Easter
only
egg.
see that. You can only really get a proper look at that if you're in VR and you step off the beaten path. It's not really that visible from the standard camera angle, so it's there to be found if people want to go looking for it. It's the kind of thing you put in for space legs. Yeah. Well, yeah, all right.
It's easier in VR, certainly, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's a lot easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
The corner.
I found the layout of the bridge pretty interesting as well. It's a lot like what you'd expect from something like Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Exactly, yeah, and there's something else actually in the left, particularly in the left multiplayer seat. If you have a look at that one, if you look directly up, you can see that there's an access panel. Well, there's actually an open access panel that leads. I don't know how much space there is. I mean, the crate's a flat ship, so there's not actually much space above you in the bridge. So I don't know what's up there, but you can see that there's a little access panel, much like you get on the International Space Station, and also just above your head in the multi-crew seat, there are a load of access panels with labels on the, like Batman labels, tell you what it is, shot repellent, this kind of thing. And they're the kind of things that you can only really access in zero gravity. Because you can't reach them if you're sitting in the chair. You couldn't even reach them if you're standing on the chair, and there's half a dozen of them there. But it's designed so that in zero G, you could fiddle with them. And it's done with that in mind. They probably won't serve any purpose, in zero G. But it looks like they do. And there's not many of the other ship designs have that going for it, so it's just it's a beard strokey thing. They've gone to all this effort. Why?
Random dumb question. From the lore, is there any sort of anti-gravity or artificial gravity device anywhere in the galaxy, or are all the ships?
No.
Are we in zero G?
No, not that I know of. It's never actually been mentioned. In fact, in previous laws, you just had the spinny stations. And that was it. There was literally nothing.
Actually, I think David Braben, I was going to take me a while to find the specific quote from Braben, but he actually did address the anti-gravity, artificial gravity thing at one point. He said it's unrealistic because of the amount of power and other things that would be required to actually make that work, even inside of a station. So the only thing that can actually do that, is rotating stations, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
the only way to simulate gravity.
Basically a trick.
There is, however, a cloaking device in the previous games. It's well, it's kind of a random encounter. It's one of the very, very few missions that actually existed in the previous games. And you encounter 3-4 ships, and you have a pop at them, and then one of them disappears. And if you hang around long enough, it'll shoot at you while it's cloaked. And if you shoot it and kill it, you can scoop up a cloaking device and fly around forever after the cloaking device after that. Now, the point is, it consumes a lot of energy. And I'm thinking, we've seen this crate here with this ridiculously large power plant capacity that it's got. And we saw that leaked thing on the Frontier store that said Crate Phantom. And you start thinking, cloaking device.
I highly doubt that'll be.
I don't know. So do I.
Do
but
too,
it would be in keeping with law. Not that they ever
Isn't it
stick to the law these days, eh?
Yeah, when I heard that, I
go.
felt like super cold running crates. The first thing that popped into my head when I read that. I'm not saying you're wrong.
But that would be the equivalent, wouldn't it? Because that's what cloaking is in Elite Dangerous.
Sure.
It's cold, so it could be like a huge refrigeration system run by your big power plant. So yeah, you literally could drop down to zero.
Oh my god! They're basically flying a refrigerator now. Fuck me.
Yes.
Heat management was meant to be a big thing, wasn't it? Initially, if you look at the earlier design discussions of the game, combat was meant to be very much about silent running. But yeah, I don't. That kind of
at least that was a valid mechanic at one point, right?
It was early on. You could use it quite a lot.
Yeah,
but
it's
I mean, in one of the little traders they did very early on, it might have been 2013, I think. They even had I think it was a sidewinder or something like that. A couple of sidewinders maybe inside an asteroid belt, and one of them went into silent running so that the other one couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Okay, like ducking in and out, hiding from each other, basically.
And then just going cold so it couldn't be seen and sneaking up onto its enemy. But we haven't really got anything quite like that, have we?
Well, no, we're completely the opposite. In fact, instead of being able to silent run, all we have to deal with is burning to death instead, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to, if you worry about heat management, it's never to keep yourself, truly cold and running silent. It's what can I do to mitigate all the hot shit kind of thing, right? Thermal vent and all the different thermal, whatever it is, the thermal dissipation for the experimentals.
Yeah. No, I mean,
that's called.
Theoretically, when you're going into a station, if you're smuggling stuff, if you've got a lower heat signature, the cops are less likely to look at you unless you've got a mission. This is what I've found. If you're flying a smuggling mission, then they'll look at you. If you just smuggle, you could smuggle like hundreds of tons of something chronically illegal, and if you've got a low profile and you're not running a mission, they probably won't see you. But if it's part of a mission, well, you're doomed, aren't you? They're all corrupt, these cops.
Well, sure, you've got illegal passengers, right? Same thing.
Yeah. They're all on the take, they communicate, there's a guy coming into your system, he's got a shit from the back. All right, that's what's going
on. Right. There was one more thing about the trailer, so it's interesting that this is the first actual ship trailer that we get. I'm kind of, I don't know, maybe they just thought, okay, we kind of want to make it just out of the blue. But maybe this is my conspiracy theorist talking, and they maybe looked at, Star Citizen makes, ship trailers and stuff like that, so we'll do one too. And here we are, making a poorly animated thing with voiceover.
See how much interest you can get in just the ships alone, rather than other content, yeah?
Maybe. No, I mean, people obviously are interested in ships, and, well, that's my main focus of this particular game. I do love ships, most of them anyways. And, this is basically what I tend to focus on oftentimes, and so on and so forth. So, for me, it's nice to see that they are actually acknowledging that interest in the ships and so on and so forth. So, I definitely like to see more types of, animations on new releases for ships and so forth. But of course, if that comes at the sacrifice of story, no thank you. Just saying. I value story more. We need desperately story in this fucking thing, god damn it.
Yeah, no, and actually, you're going to segue to my question, which is and you guys tell me what you think. When you think about what the game needs and what we would like the devs to spend time on, is it more medium-class combat ships?
Yes. Answer is simply yes, because...
you think so?
I talked to you.
I'd agree with that, yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'm in the minority then. I think we got plenty of medium-class combat ships. I would much rather have bug fixes and, as TheYamiks just said, new story and new things to do.
Right, so alright. So basically about the whole so medium ships. So when you look at the small ship category, there literally is everything. The small ship category has everything. Every role, every type, every progression piece is pretty much filled. While medium ships has still quite a huge ass gap between something like Type 7 and Python. Right now, in between, we have Alliance, Chieftain, Challenger, and Crate, and only one of them is multi-role. We need something else there as well. Because, remember, when you take out, and rightfully so, all the rank-locked ships, then you see basically a gap of basically nothing there. And bigger gap. In fact, I would like to see at least one more ship in between Asp Scout, not Asp Scout, but Asp Explorer, and Type 7. We need desperately a ship there too.
For what role, TheYamiks?
I'd say multi-role would be the best choice, because multi-role again fits everything and it's easier to make as well. But hey, I wouldn't mind Trader.
Yeah, and I'll give you, I think it's silly that Type 7, for example, isn't a medium-class ship, right? Like, we don't have a dedicated...
It's immediately a large ship.
Right,
it's immediately, basically, let's go straight from almost a small ship that is Asp Explorer, straight to the fucking large ship, right? It's jumping quite a bit, and Type 7 unfortunately doesn't feel that big, and it's ugly. It looks like a fucking chihuahua, overgrown fucking chihuahua. Oh, wait, no, wiener dog, there we go. It does look like it. I mean, it has those little legs. Just barking all over the place and just being...
man.
Oh, there you go. But, I've actually taken a look at the whole ship lineup and all that stuff. So yeah, definitely there is a huge need for specific price range ships. We still need something on 25 million, something like that. Slightly more expensive than Challenger, and in multi-role, definitely multi-role. There's a huge need for it. Then around 15. 20, also another multi-role is necessary, because multi-role oftentimes also doubles as an explorer ship. That's why, because we don't have specific explorer ships or designation for them, so multi-role oftentimes just fills that particular scratch or gap, or want to call it. After that, I'd say definitely there's a massive need for some kind of ship, after Python and Anaconda. There's just need for some sort of multi-role there as well. I honestly expected the Type 10 to be there, and technically it is, but Type 10 is not really... It's not a multi-role. It's a weird-ass blend of idiocy. That's all it is. It's... And fuck you, paroxsym.
I was gonna say, we just described this group, I think.
So there you go. That's, again, when you, of course, later on, once those gaps are filled, devs, actually in the dev stream itself, I do remember devs saying that, we are not looking at making new ships for the niches. We're looking for ships that will be alternative, and that is pretty bad. That's a stupid statement. We don't need more versions of one type of a weapon with slightly changed, values. Technically, that is great, by the way. But rather need, again, niche filling ships, and there are plenty of niche still around to go. So yeah, but of course, eventually, once those niches are filled, even when alternatives are put in the game, there will be time when not only alternatives won't be coming out, there will be basically the huge ships coming out, and then the power creep sets in. But whether or not that will happen before the 10-year plan is done, that's a different question. So, expect alternatives.
Or would you want to see anything on the smaller end, smaller ships, or more gameplay for smaller ships?
Sure.
I would think we don't need anything for smaller ships.
I do enjoy small ships. Unfortunately, small ships in this game are useless.
Yeah.
That's the sad truth. Really, small ships, well, there's only one small ship that I use constantly for something, and that is the Diamondback Explorer, right? Everything else is pretty much... I mean, sure, Courier has some good things, but you might as well use something like a Crate or Python at this point. Yeah? Crate, definitely Crate at this point, because Crate has the jump range, or Anaconda if you're not going for, just a cheap rebuy or whatnot else. Exigeous, yes, it's fine. I love small ships as well. In fact, Vulture in fact is one of my favorites.
Vulture's great,
yeah.
Vulture's practically a medium ship. I mean, it's a PvP hub.
It's borderline. It's borderline. It's so borderline. It's amazing. But
nothing we could do with a few more preps like that. But I found it quite kind of interesting with the name of the Alliance Crusader getting out there. And I don't know if most of the Chieftain and the Challenger are named after British tanks, yeah. And hopefully someone correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the Crusader was actually a smaller tank when compared to the Chieftain and the Challenger.
Oh, interesting. That'd be...
Frontier not knowing the names properly? Oh my, that's a surprise. That's the first time this happened, right? Right?
Well, so it's either the Crusaders, yes, they don't know what
Wings,
it's either small
or it could mean that the Alliance Crusader is perhaps going to be a smaller ship.
Which I'm going to disagree with TheYamiks there. I love the small ships. I think they're fantastic. I would prefer them.
Did I say that
over anything? Well, no, you're saying that they were worthless, and that's where I would disagree, right? Like, I love using the Cobra for PvP piracy. It's fantastic for that. It's so much more fun to fly than certainly the big ships. I wouldn't argue maybe against the medium class ships, right? But I think I'm maybe where Ant was about to go. I would love to see a new small class. I'd rather see a new small class ship than a new medium class ship, right? And honestly, back to kind of the point I was maybe trying to make is, I don't care about new ships, because even everything we're talking about to me doesn't change fundamentally how I play the game or what I do in the game. So I'd rather them spend time on things that are going to change that, right? What we do and how we do it, versus just having a new cockpit to look at. Hell, I would much rather have a new HUD to look at than a damn new ship to look at. Right? I mean, the wrapping is, doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I would much rather, have, again, something new to do or a new HUD to look at over a new ship.
That's true, yeah. I mean, again, Star Citizen coming into play, but yeah, there's one thing in Star Citizen that I do enjoy, and that is that every ship has,
as a function,
the ones that are not copied, of course, they have different HUDs, and those are good. Those are nice. I like that. Right. So, but to Exigeous's comments about the small ships. Again, so...
Yeah.
Okay. I say small ships are useless because they are, really. Why would you pick a small ship to do a specific task? Right?
Because it's fun.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
They're much more fun.
That's the only excuse you may have. And
that's why I'm playing the game. It's fun.
But when we are talking about actually completing a task, when we go for a specific task,
define task.
So,
mission,
bounty hunting.
Sure. I mean, but you're not going to make as much per hour, sure. So
exactly.
if we're talking about amount of,
so now
you're talking about credit farming, but now you're defining fun by how many credits you're making per hour, not by
I didn't say
just
credits.
inherent fun.
I said accomplishing a task, you deaf bastard.
Okay, so what's the task, asshole?
The task is
bounty hunting, and
bounty hunting. Okay. Bounty
so
hunting.
Oh jeez.
I would much rather do that in a Cobra than a Anaconda. I mean, I know that's a large class, but I would much rather do that in a Cobra. It's much more fun to me to fight in a Cobra.
Yes, I said. Fun is one thing, okay, fine. But when you put aside that fun, there's functionality. That's why I say useless. Because, again, functionality-wise, you won't go for a fucking Sidewinder or Eagle to bounty hunt. If you want to actually accomplish that, just kill tons of dudes, which you might find the most fun, right? You don't care what type of ship you're using. You're caring about the fact that you are killing them, right? So in that case,
no,
it's an example. It's your subjective example. This is another example.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking subjective. So yeah, go ahead. No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
But yeah, my point more or less was about the fact that the way ships intermingle in this game is the fact that medium ships rule everything. If you're gonna pick up something else that is not a medium ship, you're probably gonna have a worse time than you're gonna have with a smaller or a bigger ship. Yes, bigger ships are harder to maintain, they cost a lot more, and also, of course, they are not as maneuverable, making them easier to take on, oftentimes. And that's why medium ships are ruling this game. And unfortunately, it's kind of hard to make it the game of rock, paper, scissors and Elite with all the ships in mind. Small ships are super effective against bigger ships are more effective against medium ships, and medium ships are basically better than small ships and all that stuff. Essentially, rock, paper, scissors, as I said. There's unfortunately no such thing in this game.
But don't you think that's the way they're going to go now? They're talking about ship specialization. I mean, they've started that with military compartments and passenger compartments.
Who the
and
fuck
they've
knows?
They said they want to carry on with mining compartments, and exploration compartments. The thing is, you can't really put them, or they haven't so far, put them in smaller ships. I think that could be an option, really, couldn't it? Just add a few more compartments to the smaller ships, or these specialization ones.
I can see that working and making things more viable for different roles.
But it's got to need to wait until the gameplay's there, like Yamiks saying. I do agree with what you're saying there, Yamiks. If there's no gameplay there for the ships, then there's no use to them, is there?
Piracy would be a perfect one, but
I mean, to talk about mining, for example, it's just making making stuff up at the moment, yeah. But you've got these big ass asteroids, massive big asteroids, and you've got the smaller ships, which you can, or the bigger ships, which they're talking about putting these charges down into the cracks, down into the fissures. You drop the charges to explode them open. Well, why not add another option in where you can take one of the smaller ships and actually fly that inside the fissures, and then mine inside the asteroid? Yeah, you're then given a functionality to the smaller ship.
You want to take your proby little smooth, gentle ship and fly it into a butt crack. Fantastic prospect there. I love that prospect indeed.
I'll come up with some functionality for you, Yamiks.
All right, fair enough. I suppose. Oh my, but
you're in your mind.
Well, hey,
talking about the deep
recesses
of somewhere.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
You've seen
that's a reference from Matrix, by the way. But, whatever. Well, hey, yes, I'm just completely fucked. There's just my mind is just.
Oh, what is this?
What's your take on on this? Small being useless, small being good. Do we need more small? Do we need more ships? Period.
I mean, I would like to see a couple more specialized type small ships, but that's just because I do like to dink around in the little ones every once in a while because it's fun. It's not particularly practical, but it is fun. And I find that it's, at least in combat wise, it's also challenging to try and make the small ships compete. Like sticking shock cannons on the Viper 3 with a couple of pulse lasers and seeing how long I can make that last and what kind of nonsense I can get up to in a Haz-Res. Like that's just kind of the crap that I do though too. So I mean, I would like to see some more capability and some more variety in the low side of things, in the small ships, but I wouldn't call it a high priority thing because it's just not terribly practical once you've been in the game long enough to get out of them to begin with. I'm kind of, not the most practical.
For me, like I said, I'd rather see gameplay and things to do over a new interior to look at. Right? I want stuff outside my windscreen to do versus inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that said, one thing I'd be curious about, the devs obviously aren't an answer, but I'd love to know is, how much work does it take for them to put together a new ship, right? I mean, in some senses, I'd see it wouldn't be all that much. It's, figuring out what the, decide what the module size would be, what the overall size is going to be, how it's going to perform, what it's going to look like. You create the models for it and stuff. It doesn't seem like it's as much work to do that as some of the other things, but again, I would much rather have things to do versus, fly.
Yeah, don't hope for more ships. No one should be hoping for more ships because I know what happens when developers start spamming the game with ships and new, let's just say weapons or items and whatnot else. And technically to one point we already have that, but as I look at PlanetSide 2, holy fuck, that's a great example of just spamming the game with new stuff. Essentially just reiterated versions of the previous stuff. And this crate is already feeling like that. Sure, it's not as good as Python. Yeah, it might be slightly better in maybe one or two aspects, but that's about it. And yeah, it's already starting to creep on. When it comes down to weapons or ships like that, I like to think of this gaming idea of something that Team Fortress 10 at least used to imply, or employ rather. Every class in Team Fortress 2 has their own weapons. Unique weapons, well, okay, there was a shotgun that was shared, but that was secondary. Main weapon. Each class has its own unique weapon and tool to use. They each fill the unique role. And of course, after a while, you just start to spam things in, and then you just lose that. First of all, that initial, intermingle between each ship and so on and so forth. It's just they don't really work together anymore. They don't really make sense oftentimes as well, and well, you end up basically with just a store full of just reiterated versions of the same thing. And well, is it really that fun? I mean, sure, I'd like to have more ships and so on and so forth, but you got to start asking questions as to what's the point as well. So, and I'm asking, what's the point? What's the point of the crates? Really, you have Python, right?
I think what the point, I wanted to hear what paroxsym had to say, because I feel absolutely with the Challenger, what the fuck, right? Like, it feels exactly like the Chieftain.
Exactly, that's another good example, in fact.
Yeah.
And you don't think the crate fills a gap, though, Yamiks?
Huh?
You don't feel the crate fills a gap? I think it fills a gap.
It fills a gap in the price-wise, very slightly, because, again, for 3 more million, you can buy Furtherlands. It doesn't fill the price gap even. So, multi-roll, maybe, but even I expected Crate to be costing somewhere in the realms of Gunship, 35 million. That would fill the gap, yes. Because, you know, the only other ship in between currently Crate, or Furtherlands even, and the next cheapest ship is Challenger, which is 20 million something. There's 20 million gap. Basically, you have to earn twice as much from the last ship, or get 2 of those ships before you can buy next cheapest one, if you haven't rank grinded. So, there you go. That's sort of the issue. And eventually they will fill it, sure. Who knows what the Crate Phantom might be? It might be just an even more downsized version. Sure, fine. And as for the next Alliance thingamajig, that might be, you know, more pricey. So that might fill that gap slightly. Who knows? But for that we need to wait. And I don't know, really. There are design choices that are made basically about the game, and it's well, in this case, the main focus. And yes, I'm daring to call ships this game's main focus, because it is the main thing you sit in, where you do everything and so on and so forth. It's the base thing from which you do things. Therefore, it is, at least in some part, or a rather big part, a focus. So there you go. Thoughts?
Well, even if you look at the other content, you've got a big galaxy out there, but it's all useless without a ship, isn't it? You've got to have a decent ship to get out there. I know people do it with a small ship, and a cracked canopy.
You can do it with a goddamn gunship and the lowest jump range you can pick up. Sure. Yes, gunship has the worst jump range in the game. Sure. But, well, fine. You can do whatever you want in any ship in this game. But really, well, you want to pick up something that is more suited for your playstyle.
Yeah, you want to customize a ship and get the right ship for your particular aims in the game. Yeah.
So,
well, Prox, what's your thoughts on the Challenger, Prox? I definitely wanted to hear that.
Okay, well, as far as the Challenger goes, it's kind of like a gunship Phaz. I mean, the Chieftain is something kind of like the Phaz, just for the Alliance side. Okay. Its handling characteristics are very similar. The thing that the Chieftain had over the Phaz is that it has more firepower. That's pretty much about it. Otherwise, they're
more
fairly equal.
Yeah, you can do more experimentals because you've got more, more hardcore.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more flexibility in the way the Chieftain was able to be loaded out. Now, the Challenger, it's somewhat less maneuverable, not by a large margin, but if you really pay attention to the way it handles, there is actually a fairly decent delay in how it moves. So if you wanted to make it roll, you move the stick, it'll start to move, but it's very slow on the takeoff, and then eventually it will catch up with itself. If you put it side by side with the Chieftain does the same thing, but it's much less pronounced. The Challenger, it's a little sluggish in the beginning and only really gets up to speed towards, after about a half a second or so of movement, and then it's up to speed. as far as like pitch, roll, yaw, that stuff goes. Now it's slower, it is a little bit tougher, and it has a little bit more damage. Instead of being a little bit under the Fer-de-Lance, it's actually a little bit over. It's basically in Python territory.
Would you ever choose the Chieftain over the Challenger at this point?
Probably not, actually.
Because I don't know why you would. To me, the slight loss in maneuverability, everything else about it is better. Like, why would I fly the Chieftain at this point?
Like,
right?
I don't think I would fly the Chieftain over the Challenger either, but it's really only because the Challenger is maneuverable enough for me to be able to make good use of fixed weapons, but it's not overly sensitive to the point where I have a hard time aiming them. So, I mean, that's kind of where the Challenger falls into me. You know, is that it's a little less maneuverable, a little bit tankier, but if you're looking for more maneuverability and particularly speed, the Chieftain's going to win out. So, as I said, it's kind of like Chieftain, it's kind of like Phas versus Gunship, you know, just with a much narrower margin as far as damage output goes. That's really the how I'm looking at it. You know, do I want speed and raw maneuverability, or do I want, you know, general usability and tankiness? I mean, general usability for me is going to win out. So, I mean, it's not that Chieftain is
You're
necessarily
basically
a bad
being
ship,
pragmatic, just like most people are, and well, hey, I'm that too. I actually go for pragmatic approach constantly, in fact, knowing very well what it is.
Yeah, see, like, the Chieftain's not a bad ship, don't get me wrong. I just...
It's alternative to Federal Soul Ship and Clipper. That's it. That's all it is.
Pretty much. The Challenger is a little bit too slow to really...
It's in that weird spot. It has...
It
again,
is a weird spot.
It's Chieftain, and yet it has another size 6 optional internal, where what the fuck you're gonna use that for in a hull tank, right? And on top of that, you're, you know, slower. Was it slower or less maneuverable? There you go.
A little less, yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically... And what do you gain? More armor? It's the same
you get 10%,
issue.
Yeah, I just looked. You get 10% more armor.
So yeah, you're basically at the same point where Viper 4 is. It's basically Viper 4. It's fucking useless. Sure, Viper 4 has the most hull when you completely buff it, right? From all the small ships in the game. Sure.
Oh yeah.
Fine. But what's the point if you don't evade the fire, which small ships should do in the first place? What? Tanking it all won't really help you much, because you're still very, very fragile. And the same thing goes with this thing. You're ever so slightly more tankier, and you're gonna get shot a lot more because of it. I mean, sure, you got a little bit more extra damage, but that's like saying, well, Python also has extra damage in comparison to Fer-de-Lance, but who's gonna win the fight mostly? Fer-de-Lance! Guess why? So, that's the same issue I have. Okay, fine. Fine. In one way, Challenger can double back as some sort of cargo ship, because, well, it actually has somewhat a decent cargo bay, but jump range is not good enough to do, you know, what you could do in, I don't know, Type 9, right? So what's the point in picking up Challenger? Unless you're really going for the combat main, and then multi-role second? Maybe, but again, it's in that awkward spot. That's all it is. At least in my opinion. And sorry for interrupting there.
No worries. It does... I mean, a lot of people are going to think that the Chieftain is completely obsolete by, you know, the introduction of the Challenger, but I don't think that's necessarily true.
Chieftain? No, Chieftain is still very viable. Fuck no, Challenger is the useless one that is introduced.
I don't know. See, I don't really
disagree.
think it's useless. I mean, it's got a little bit more firepower than the Chieftain does.
It's got more than a little bit. I mean, three mediums versus one large and a medium. I'll take the three mediums every day. Again, not only is it more DPS, but I get more experimental effects that way.
I mean,
right?
You can, yeah, potentially. I mean, but it's. I just don't think that it's. Useless.
I don't think it's enough
I
different.
think it's,
no matter what we're saying, I don't think it's enough different.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Challenger could be a little bit like I think you can outfit it more as a multi-role than a specialist combat ship, which is interesting to say, seeing as how it's supposed to be a combat ship. As what I've done with it is that second class 6 slot actually has a fuel scoop in it, and one of the class 2s has got an FSD interdictor, so I can take the thing, I can travel around and hunt things down in other systems, no problem. Most combat ships, when they're fully combat outfit, they've got maybe 3 or 4 jumps worth of fuel in them, and that's it. The Challenger, at least in its current configuration for me, doesn't have that. So it's got more flexibility without sacrificing as much of its combat capability, which is kind of nice. That's really about it. I just think it's more flexible, and that makes it very appealing to me.
Ant, what's your take? Have you flown it much yet?
No, I haven't even had a go of the Challenger yet.
Okay.
I've had a go of the crate. I've mentioned around with that, but I still haven't looked at the Challenger yet. But as soon as the specs were announced, I kind of wondered where the Challenger was going to fit in, especially when earlier on they were saying it was going to be more maneuverable than the Chieftain. They kind of left the thought, well, if it's more maneuverable and everything else is better, then why would you want a Chieftain to start with? Is there much difference between the maneuverability?
I don't think there's enough to make the difference. I think all the other positives of the Challenger are for combat anyway. I don't know why you would pick the Chieftain over the Challenger for combat at this point. Again, let's assume budgets. I mean, let's assume that doesn't matter, right? Because I don't see that maneuverability difference in any way making the difference in either winning the fight or having fun.
Yeah, personally, I really like maneuverable ships, so I don't know yet if I'd notice that kind of difference.
I think you notice it, but I don't think it wouldn't change. I don't think it would sway you. Exactly.
Yeah,
I think
it won't sway you.
Maneuverability.
I'll have to give it a try. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you should, obviously, right?
Yeah. I actually got another subject away from ships. If you want to move on a bit.
Sure. What you got?
So how many of you have visited had the chance to visit some of the new sites that's in the game since the update? We got some of the little ground bases, and
I am in one of them right now. So
I logged out at the. They're interesting. I haven't seen I just have your stream pulled up right now, and so I'm seeing the ground base there, but I haven't actually been to those yet. I've been to the other one.
Yeah, what one have you been at? TheYamiks, you're the ground base, with the mist.
I did post in the chats there.
Can somebody post can somebody give me a system name? I'll head to one.
Yeah, there's the Reddit link that I put up there. So yeah, that's
okay. The one. Yeah. Okay, I got you. How far from the core is that one?
It's about 200.
Oh, okay. So not far at all. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm really liking what they've done with the mist here.
It's too much for my taste. It's just basically like Targoid just took a massive fart over it. I mean, seriously, what else are you supposed to think about this stuff? Seriously, it's just green or brownish green. It's just Targoid took a dump. Well, not fully a dump, but almost.
It's like me after having Mexican food.
Okay, so
there's two TMIs. The fog of war.
Oh, God.
And
so it's the colour, yeah? You got the colour, we're pulling with the colour of the mist rather than the thickness of the mist, yeah?
No, thickness is... I can speculate really what this means in the game world, but all I see at this point as a normal player is basically just another template base with a fog on it. And some ground effects on it slightly, so...
To me, this fog actually looks different to what we've had so far. Does it look any different to you, or...?
It's thicker.
It looks different to the what do you call it? The normal fog you get on the planets and the craters. There's a term for it.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
about
remember
the
what the term is.
same. Again, it's localized, so it's more thicker and so on and so forth. So when it comes down to, again, game programming and what else, is just the same fucking thing, just condensed. Really, that's all it is. I mean, it's very simple effect, sure, but hey, in a way, it's effective, I suppose. So there you are. Though there was an interesting thing that let's see if I can get up ship and back off, because that fucking fog was so far visible. It's amazing. Again, sure, it's
Yeah, you can
unnatural,
see it from a long
but
way away. It makes it easy to find the places, doesn't it?
yeah, sure, it makes it easier to
It makes the
find,
places
but
a bit easier to find. Yeah.
it's so fucking massive.
That's what she said.
Not
Not
TheYamiks, she
exactly. No, that's the thing.
Not TheYamiks, she didn't. Sorry.
We're talking about the fog. That joke doesn't work, unfortunately. I would have laughed. Unfortunately, it's just. What kind of person would say, "Oh, it's a massive fog of"? Oh my God, your ass gas has such a massive cloud. Oh yeah. Oh, but whatever. I'm party pooping here. Yes. So I don't know.
Personally, I think this site looks really good.
The picture does. I'm hitting it right now.
Let's have a look. It's not too much different. I've got some graphics mods on here. I normally see it with that on. Not too much difference. Kind of changes the consistency of the green. Yeah, it looks.
Yeah, do you run reshade?
Yeah, I've got reshade going on. If you kind of take that off, it doesn't look quite so soupy. I see what you're saying, Yamiks. If I disable it, it looks quite soupy. Yeah, looks like
you're in
right now, ladies and gentlemen. Obsidian is describing a piece of shit. It's so soupy. There we go.
Soupy,
quote of the day.
Looks like pea soup. Yeah.
It does look like pea soup.
Oh God!
Yeah. But it does.
That turd looks so soupy. Oh my!
I've got
actually looks really
question.
different with the graphics mod on.
There
you go.
Oh man.
Oh man, the grading of the stream. Oh my, yay!
I've got another question topic. If you know, not to rush us or anything, but what about? So, what do we think about the wonderful changes to crime and punishment?
What was there? Just describe us.
I haven't
being able to. So the two that are there now, there are two that I've run across so far that I've played with is being able to hand yourself in, and the fact that notoriety now expires as you just sit in a station AFK.
Finally,
I think that's pathetic.
I think that's great, because every once in a while I'll get a bounty for something absolutely freaking stupid, and then I have to sit in Egypt doing absolutely nothing for 2 hours because the game's a piece of shit. No.
Well, now
this works fine for me.
Well, okay, so but I guess the reason I would say I think it's terrible is it even further diminishes crime and punishment, in that if you are a just straight up murder hobo, right, now it's even easier to not, or even more, you don't have to worry about notoriety, right? And by the way, not saying the notoriety mechanic is good, and by the way, and also paroxsym, it's 1 point per hour now, but still, I think it's just like at one point you had to be moving or inputs to your ship. You had to do something. You couldn't just literally dock and walk away from a computer, which what the fuck is the point? Right? Like, how is that a penalty? That's shit. I do that a lot of times anyway. I just land in the station and go do something else and just don't even bother logging out sometimes. Right? So I think it just further weakens it. And the mechanic of handing yourself in, I kind of accidentally did that, to be honest, the first time. And from a lore perspective, what? Like, I'm sitting in one station, I say, yeah, hand me in, and bam, instantly I've teleported 50 light years away to a detention center. To me, that it's just so dumb. So I'm curious if anybody actually finds that useful or likes it. Like, who was clamoring for that feature?
I still hate crime and punishment in general terms, and I also think I'm stuck in the fucking game. God damn it! Never mind.
Look, I think they've kind of got a bit of the wrong end of the stick in the way they're approaching it, in the sense that they're punishing the wrong people. You know, why are we getting punished for accidentally shooting an NPC.
Uh-huh.
So you shoot,
or
you shoot
accidentally
two bullets at
clipping a
NPC.
ship. You clip a ship as you're leaving the station, and now you got a 50 credit fine. And like me,
And the
I get
station
stuck out
tells
in the
you,
black with
"Fuck
that,
off,
and I'm
you
fucked.
wanker."
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right?
that's stupid.
And
I
the
did
penalties
because
for
initially the
Oh,
whole
go ahead,
idea was to try and stop griefing. At least that's what I always
Right.
understood. The whole crime and punishment was about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
right.
now you've, with the decaying notoriety and with the ability to just go and hand yourself in as long as you haven't got notoriety, then you're
which is
basically
very
given the people who
Right.
want to go and shoot someone and cause trouble,
That's right.
then they can just go and
Even
sit in the
easier.
station and burn the notoriety off. So it's easier for them. But the people who didn't do any of that and then now do a bit of friendly fire on an NPC ship, they get told, well, what's your trigger finger? But you know, for 200 credit fine, I've accidentally shot 2 bullets into a NPC ship. That's actually not harmed any player. It's not taken anyone's time away or caused any problem.
Right.
Why do I now have to waste 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes of my time sorting it all out?
Absolutely. 100%.
Just seems to be
So
hurting the
basically,
wrong people
it
now.
doesn't hurt the criminals in any way really at all, and it does hurt, upstanding citizens who just, you like, I think somebody said once, you get a traffic ticket and it's almost as bad a penalty as somebody who goes and commits murder, right?
Yeah, you're getting the same sort of punishment.
Yeah, yeah. In terms of time and pain in your assness, you definitely are.
Yeah. But then again, I wonder sometimes if Frontier perhaps don't see the player's time as a commodity in that sense. Obviously, they do in the sense that they're making, well, they like to encourage you to grind, but
remember,
your
your time is valuable. We don't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
And your time is not wasted.
They
Those
don't have
are
to worry about
quotes.
it.
That doesn't translate, does it, into the experiences of the game?
Nope.
Yep. Well, they don't worry about it. They don't play the game.
No.
Let's not have that argument again.
Just no. Don't try. Just no.
I mean, because the thing for me is, I run plasmas when I go out bounty hunting, and the last time this happened was actually not even that long ago. I was bounty hunting, took a shot, and one of the NPCs that was not in the middle of the fight decided to fly right through my line of fire and got smacked by the class 4 plasma. Instant bounty. I had to go to the nearest system that had an interstellar factor, which fortunately for me was close by, and sit there for 2.5 hours waiting for my notoriety to go down to 0 just so I could clear it and come back. I spent half the night that I would had planned on actually doing something out in the middle of flipping nowhere doing nothing. Like that was my whole beef with it. I'm hoping that that's not so much of a problem now, but does anyone know where they've set the threshold now for the
They said they upped
the
it.
assault bounties? I mean, they said they upped it, but does anyone know how high?
The friendly fire still seems a bit of a problem. I've had a bit of a look at that.
Yeah, agreed.
If you've got an unengineered ship, then you can unload a few salvos on a NPC and you'll be fine. But if you've got full-on engines, you can fire for probably less than a second, and you're going to get that bounty.
Yeah,
I've got engineered 3 engineered beams on the crate, and I got a bounty last night. I don't even know how it actually happened.
Did you really?
Yeah, I clipped something. I don't know what I did. My fault. Happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but at the same time, like you said, it's your fault, but that little mistake then causes you so much time and pain in the ass factor that really, again, where a murderer goes out and murders somebody, and they absolutely should be dealing with something very severe for committing murder, yet it's not really much any more of a pain in their ass than your bounty you got was a pain in yours, right?
Yeah, I'd personally rather see a huge fine for it rather than a bounty and you having to run around and all the friendlies in the area turning hostile towards you. I'd rather see that friendly fire just issue you a massive bounty, whether it's 10,000 credits or 100,000, whatever. It's a lot of money, and some people would struggle to pay it off. But the difference is, you can earn that credits over time. So
that's right.
It's not interrupting the flow of your gameplay. You can go away and earn that credit as and when you want to pay that fine off. But now it currently interrupts the flow, and that's a big deal.
Yep. Yep. Your video you did a while back, I think you did a video like analyzing it, right? Like, didn't you? Like, here's what we really wanted, what they talked about, and here's what we got, and the two don't line up at all, really.
Yeah, but I mean, people kind of joke, say Frontier don't really play their own game. I don't think it's really that. I just
bullshit.
I think they play the game. They just see it in a different way to us.
Well, I would argue they don't live with the game like we do. That would be my.
Oh, that's for sure. They are working on elements further
fans.
down the line. That's also another interesting thing. You have to remember.
Well, I mean, I'll make a little example. When a buddy of mine the other day stream sniped Paige as she was, flying around in open. So Paige, employee, obviously should know the game fantastically, is flying around in open in an unshielded Type 6. Like, that just made me go, are you kidding me? Really? That's like, you're supposed to know the game and work for the company, and you don't know to not fly around.
Let's start the PvP battle here. So the question is, why do you need to snipe someone then?
Oh, no. That's not my point.
Okay, but still,
right.
She's just flying, thinking, I do my own business, I do the stream.
Oh, but she's going to get grabbed by an NPC and get killed. It's not that she got killed by a player.
No.
Flying an unshielded Type 6 in open, or flying an unshielded Type 6 period, is stupid, right? I'm going to just make that as a blanket statement, right? And that's where, again, I go back to, in my opinion, they certainly don't live with the game in the way that we live with the game.
I fly without shields in open too when I want to get fucked. Even when I want to get fucked, I sometimes don't get fucked, but well, that's a different story. But still, I don't know.
Well, let's go.
And also, I'm going to throw this out there too. You actually have to understand the context of Paige's employment. She is the social media manager. She has nothing to do with any of the games themselves.
No, yeah, right. But she still should know the game better than that, in my opinion, right?
Not necessarily. No, that's not.
She spends all her time on Twitter, Facebook, or Reddit,
her
all that kind of stuff. She doesn't.
Her task is a lot different than you think, and her requirement of knowing the game is a bonus. And the fact that she knows, I talked with her. She's a fantastic gal, and but she's not just like a casual player. Essentially, she's on the casual player's level. Which is fine, which is in fact rather good, because at least she can get that insight on the devs in case they ask for. But she doesn't communicate with developers or the team itself as much as Bo, Ed, and Will would. She's just, again, she's social media manager, if I remember correctly, the exact title.
Yeah, I do think that's her title. Yeah,
but it's not required for her to, know the game in and out completely. Oh. Yeah, that expectation is no. Just no. Even I played a fucking game like no, I played a fucking game for fucking ever. I make content for it, and well, I am in the position I am, and yet I barely know, most intricacies of fucking PvP. And now, will you really somehow penalize me for that, or just look down on me because of that? Fuck no. Fuck you. So, get it? Do you get the point?
I disagree with the point, but I get the point you're trying to make.
Well, good.
Let's move on, because we've bit that to death. Is there anything else we want to go over that's new, since we've got 10 minutes to go?
All right, let me quickly just go over them. Let's see what we got. Okay, so let's start from the start. So, mission scenarios. We got some new wing missions on mining. Who cares about that? Raise your hand.
My hand's
no one.
raised.
Okay, moving on. Added high threat USSs. We talked about that. Megaship interactions. Megaship and installation interactions. I guess someone cares. Fine, we talked about that. Crime and punishment. Just talked about that. New weapons. Okay, so in short, we're gonna get more, or rather, we already have more weapons, more modules that are, gathered from Guardian crap and unlocked. So you're basically grinding so you can unlock the option to buy something later. How stupid is that sometimes? Just it sounds stupid, at least to me. Anyways, that's that. We got large versions of...
quickly, but before you move on from that, I would say one thing I will say that I think is fantastic is how much they lowered the requirements for all the unlocks, right? I was hugely pleasantly surprised to see it.
I don't want to paint it in any bright or good light, because at this point it's still a grind. The fact that you're asked to grind your fucking time for fixed, gimbaled, and turreted versions of the weapon separately.
Yes.
No.
Yes, agree.
No, just
agree.
It's fucking unforgivable. No.
But I'm going to say the Guardian Power Distributor and SD Booster, I actually think those are fantastic. I think
I don't care about that.
Great.
You're still asked to go and do that stupid Guardian circle jerk dance several times. For every module, you need to do it once.
You've got
FSD booster
times, but once just for that each module, basically 2 at the most.
Yeah.
Some modules ask for it twice.
So what? It's so segmented. It's so separated. Again, for someone that, let's say, a not even a completionist, someone like me that just simply enjoys unlocking things or wants to unlock things, so later on he can test out things. There are plenty of players like that. Will be forced, if they want to do that, just go and do it multiple times. Fantastic. I love to repeat something that is actually decent. So many times it becomes worthless. Thank you. That's sort of the point there, but oh well. Turgeon, you're around.
I was saying though, I think what they should have is you should have one blueprint. You should do that pylon run once to unlock being able to talk to the damn Guardian Broker.
Perfect idea.
You know?
Perfect idea.
And then after that, all the stuff can be just standard stuff. And then if you want to go back and do the pylon thing again, instead of dropping a blueprint, it'll drop like twice as much of the Sentinel parts or something that you need. So you get a reward for doing it again, but you don't have to do it again.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
I mean,
they just simply love that RNG just so much they want to fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TheYamiks is dead right. It cheapens it by making you do it again. It's a wonderful thing to do, and then once, and then you come back a week or two later and go, do you know, that was really cool. I'll go and have another look at that. And it's cool, but not if you have to do it 10 bloody times in a row.
Well, I've done it 64 times.
Then it's just annoying.
Oh, you poor fucking soul.
Right. And so I guess the only point I was trying to make is at least they cut the requirements by 8x. Right, so it's certainly a shit ton better than it was before. It's not great, right?
Wrong fact.
I'm just trying to say
Wrong
one good thing here, right?
So to explain people what happened there, the way they cut the requirements was that the data piece you get from scanning that ball was divided by 4. So instead of 4 units, now you need only 1. But rest.
8 for some.
Well, now you need 2 for them. So yeah, it's divided by 4. So it's divided by 4, but rest of the data, the Guardian module thingamajigs that you pick up from destroyed Sentinels and so on and so forth, that stuff is reduced by only 2. So by a factor of 2. So it's halved. Yeah. Exactly. So that's what happened there. And commodity, that doesn't matter. You're still gonna have to go out there and pick it up. It doesn't matter if it's 1, 10, or 20 or what. That's the situation. They didn't really have it. They maybe reduce it by 3 times, depending on the time you spend. Whatever, doesn't matter. Anyways, moving on then from the modules. Or does anyone else has anything else to say?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay. In that case, next we have some narrative stuff. Okay, we talked about the ships quite extensively, in fact. And then we have some fixes. Let me pick up something that... So we talked about the stupid wires. I don't see the fucking difference, but then again, you know, I don't pay attention where the fucking misplaced bag of shit on my in my cockpit is placed now instead of, you know, the last patch or something. I don't care, it still looks like garbage. Anyways, after that we have missions. Alright, there is the one particular thing that I really like to see. So, let me read that. So, removed the timed element from assassination missions, so the target's no longer limited to spawning within time window. Players can scan the system nav beacon or, do the planetary advanced scanner thingamajig, and it will show up the location just like with black boxes and other things. So rejoice, folks! The worst mission in the game is finally neutered properly, instead of half neutered or somewhat else. Anyways.
Yeah, that actually didn't do the assassination missions because of that reason.
Yep.
Waited around for half hour before the guy spawns. I literally just never accepted
Game
him
designer will tell you, but Obsidian, you can go do something else in the meantime. Why don't you go and do that? Fuck you. That's how it feels sometimes.
Yeah. It's one of these odd occasions where that actually was harking back to the game, the missions in Frontier Elite 2, because you took an assassination mission, and because there was like time passing in the game, and you jump from system to system, and you watch the clock go up by days as you were jumping. You can't do that in an online game, but in that one you did that, and you knew that the mission target, your assassination target, was going to arrive in X system at Y time, and you could get there before him, because you knew he was going to turn up, and he dropped out of hyperspace, and you could be waiting for him, or you could arrive late and he'd be on his way to the station. But there was a time component, there was a time limit. Now, this is one element of, I'm always banging on about, I want to keep the law from the past. I'm happy to change that one. I don't see that is really necessary in an online game with the time constraints we have. So removing, you have to shoot this guy between this time and this time, I'm happy with that. That's good. I like that change.
Sure, it's more realistic that way, and sure, this game is a kind of a simulator, fine. But bottom line is, still, this is a game rather than... Well, simulators are really no fun. They're really no fun. They can be interesting from time to time, but you're not gonna play them as avidly as you would, a proper entertainment piece. And it's interesting that designers over at Frontier back in the day who designed this thing, it was around 2012, they, I don't care from which type of background you come, it's kind of clear that making something time specific, in this specific time you'll find something X, Y, and Z without the ability to skip that time is a really, really bad design choice. There are reasons why games don't have that mechanic in them. There are reasons why there are, missions where you arrive at the place and then the timer starts for, execute X amount of enemies in that time frame. Yeah, that sort of missions, there's a reason. That gives you, reason to just go after them rather than just tank them or bait them or whatnot else. So yeah. But specific time, go and do something when the time comes, no. That design choice, I'm surprised that people from 2000 and let's say 10 even thought that was acceptable in modern day gaming. Really. And that's just me, of course, but fucking hell. It's like fucking amateurs made a fucking game.
Well, I don't think I can think of any other example of a game that actually makes you walk away from the game while you're waiting for something to happen. Is there many other
That's
games
exactly
like
the
that?
reason why. No game wants you to walk away from it.
Exactly. Yeah, that should.
Yeah.
It's usually the opposite, isn't it? They do whatever they can to keep you sat at the seat.
Right? So, alright. That aside. So, yeah. Now, assassination missions are basically, you pick them up and arrive at the place, scan the system, and boom, you go and kill the fucker if you, once you find where he's hiding. There you go. That's it. Raised payout rates for elite rank mining mission. Wait, what? Okay, that's an interesting... Anyways, fuck it. Doesn't matter. There's apparently something like that. Let's see. NPCs don't care. Outfitting don't care. There's still no change that I want in outfitting. Anyways, SRVs, nothing. Lance Chieftain, nothing. Anaconda, we talked about the players. we talked about the reduction in tech broker blueprints, and that would be it on the whole patch. So there's really nothing else to talk much about. So
I've got a question for you, Yamiks. You said, I'm just curious. You just said no change to outfitting that you would want. I'm just curious what you have in mind.
So the simplest change that has been plaguing everyone's time, because your time is valuable, we don't want to waste your time, was the fact whenever you sell a weapon or a hard point, it always packs back in, locking shut up. Locking
no, I agree.
Locking your game completely so you can go fuck yourself while the weapon packs in, so you can pack yourself, so to speak. That is the issue. That's the biggest fucking issue I have with outfitting. And the funny thing is,
totally agree.
So basically, another thing is, I made a fucking video about this as well. I did compare when you actually basically when you sell one weapon at a time, or when you mark in the storage, when you mark all the weapons and store them, and then sell them through storage. Guess what? Putting them in the storage and then selling them is faster, because you only have to wait for the longest pack-in time that one weapon has, rather than waiting for each one of them.
Yep.
That's retarded.
Yep.
There's no other way of explaining it. This was I think it was one of the first quality of life improvements that I asked for in my first video that I made about quality of life. And of course, there's another issue about outfitting, that there's a high requirement for redesign on UI. Storage is horrible UI. You basically can barely find whatever you want. Experimental tab is completely just filled with different things that don't make sense in one, selection. And of course, limpens. There are fucking 8 limpen types. And of course, devs did address limpens, but people, limpens are not the only issue in the UI, in the station UI. So there you go. That's what I would say would be nice to see.
I would also, I don't know if you mentioned this in one of yours, but I've always wanted to see the ability to save a loadout.
Oh, save. Yeah, I did mention loadout saves, but that's kind of an iffy thing. You need specific modules and so forth. As soon as you don't have, it's more of an issue to put in, but sure, it would be nice to put in.
I mean, let's put it this. Let's say you had a loadout that you said load this loadout, and if something wasn't in storage for it, obviously, it wouldn't.
Either you load whatever you can, or don't load it.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of nice. That'd be nice, right?
Yeah. Especially now that you want to swap. You engineer. I mean, look, all of the new ships use class 6, all the new ships use class 6 thrusters, right? Why do I want to engineer more than one set of class 6 thrusters, right? Of course, I'm gonna swap it between the ships. So heaven forbid that be made easy for me. Right.
Your time is valuable, as they say, right? Anyways, so I guess that'd be it on the patch notes. I don't know if everyone else or anyone else has anything else to say. If not, well, in that case, in that case, let's just go over the basic ideas, or rather basic feel of the patch. So, in just a couple of words, maybe not explain, but rather give your opinion on the patch. So let's start with the elusive Turgeon, if Turgeon's around. I take it not.
No,
in that case, paroxsym, go for it, since you talk the least. Ha
ha! I'm just gonna say, I think we haven't quite seen everything that Chapter 2 has got. Obviously, we're still too close to the beginning.
I mean, there are Targoid places, obviously, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I'm just waiting for Chapter 4. That's what it boils down to for me. I am neither pleased nor displeased. I am just middle of the road waiting for Chapter 4.
All right. Exigeous or Obsidian? I don't know which one of you want to go for.
I'll go next. I'll let Obsidian have the last word toward the end. I'd say that to me, I think in general, I'm happy with it. I mean, I don't think there's anything in it that I'm upset about or I think is overly stupid, which is very uncommon. I think to me, it's a stretch unless there is some Thargoid stuff that we haven't seen yet, which, big stuff, right? I don't see why it's called Chapter 2. To me, it's Chapter 1.1 at best. And so, I see it in that light. I'm happy with it. As a Chapter 2, I think it's mildly disappointing, right? I think the reductions to some of the grind is nice. I think the new ships are nice. I think I just got to that new P covered base right now, and it's atmospherically cool. When we're done, I'm going to jump into VR so I can check it out in VR. But I think all that is nice, but I don't think there's anything. I would think that if I'm somebody who hasn't played the game in a while, I don't know that this would bring me back, right? And for me, I think the FSD booster is probably the single best thing for me in a sense, or in that it fundamentally, I talked about this earlier.
It allows very shitty ships to finally travel far.
Yeah. And my DBX, I just got my DBX and it's now got a 73 light year range, right? That's pretty great. I got down here, probably 2 jumps quicker than I would have otherwise. So, that is a real measurable difference in my time, and it was easy enough to unlock it. I think it's easy enough to unlock it for anybody. So I think it's those things. And as I was trying to say earlier with the power plant and the distributor, I think it lessens the need for engineering for casual players, right? Unlock these once and then just buy them versus unlock and engineer, grind for materials, do the upgrades for each ship, right? So I think those are positive changes. I think overall it's positive. I just think it's a Chapter 1.1 and not a Chapter 2.
Okie dokie. Obsidian?
Yeah, I think for me, I pretty much got what I was expecting to get. I mean, we've known for close to a year now that Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 were going to be small updates. They shut off, obviously, the crate back then, so that was bound to come sooner rather than later. Chapter 3 is probably going to be pretty much the same. I agree with what Exigeous says. There's probably not a lot here that's going to bring people back if they've been away from the game for a very long time, but people who've been away for a little while, they're probably enough here to come back and have a look at. Personally, I like the crate and I like the ship. I like the new sites that we've seen, but they're a bit of a one-hit thing. You come down and have a look at them and you probably won't come back again, but they're nice little things. They got a bit of a backstory, which is good.
It sure would have been nice if there were materials here a la Dav's Hope, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there's kind of stuff at the Crashed Anaconda.
Yeah, I'm going to go to that next. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get some.
Does anybody have a link to that or a system name for that, if I can ask?
Paroxsym should have that.
Okay, yeah, paroxsym, if you can share that.
I'll put that in my chat here again as well. But basically, you can get some. With the new installations, someone pointed out as well, wasn't it? Well, I can't remember if it was you, Exigeous. I think it was, saying that we can get the materials from those places as well.
From where again?
From the installations.
Especially the data rewards. To me, the data rewards at the installations, I'm going to use the installations now for data versus going to the planetary bases, right? To me, so far, no question. It's more fun and it's easier and it's faster.
And in short, really, I'm kind of pleased with all the little updates there. I think TheYamiks has said before he'd like to see an update that's just a quality of life update. I think that's really the only thing that would have really been good for Chapter 2, other than what we've already got. But yeah, it's hard really to say much. We knew it wasn't going to be too much, so I don't think we can really sit here and say, it's a crap update in terms of its size, because it wasn't going to be much anyway. But yeah, for what's there, I'm quite happy with it. If, on the other hand, we get to Chapter 4 and Chapter 4 comes out and we've only got a few bits and pieces, then I'll probably be one of the first to moan. So yeah. TheYamiks?
Right. Well then, since
take us out, TheYamiks.
All right. Oh boy. So the Chapter 2, what the fuck ever it was called, I don't care anymore. I did mention, yes, that I much rather prefer quality of life improvements, and the reason why I prefer quality of life improvements is the fact that Well, it showcases the fact that, you know, developers are refining the game, that they are improving it rather than just pushing out more content. That I'm sitting in one right now. Yeah, and even this is the perfect opportunity. I did mention in, again, my little thingamajig that I released, and the patch drop. This is the perfect time when you can release absolutely nothing and still look like you're doing a lot of changes. In fact, most important changes in the whole year, by just tasking a couple of people of fixing many little things that are constantly annoying us. And I'm not talking about actually coding too much. Balancing doesn't take coding. Again, rebalancing fucking weapons can a QA team do easily without much knowledge of, you know, how coding goes. You just need to know how to do spreadsheets, and let's be honest, QA teams do know how spreadsheets work. They're not like bass players, right? Or bass players, sorry. Anyways, moving on then. So yeah, quality of life, bass, yeah, just take the fucking raw fish and just string it. Anyways, but yeah, just make a quality of life improvement list, a massive one, and do it. I'll be happy about that, because, well, guess what? My experience is improved, and everyone else's as well, making the product, aka this game, replayable a lot more without frustration of the old issues. And now, those that would, you know, come back would see, oh, the new UI, or, oh, well, the game is faster loading, or, oh, this particular thing is, you know, no more necessary to be done before I can do something that I liked, or what else. These little things do add up. These little things, in fact, I've actually always championed as rather the most important things of any patch, and I was fucking surprised to see that there was basically just that mission change and the blueprint change. That's it. Maybe some wire change, whatever. Bottom line is, I was just disappointed, heavily disappointed to see there's just nothing. 2 ships, yeah, sure, I like ships, but ships should be like the icing on the cake rather than the fucking cake itself. So, there you go. Oh well, maybe they'll learn for the next update and they'll actually bring out something for us, but no, there will be another 2 ships. We already pretty much know that there are Great Phantom and Alliance Crusader coming, so... Well, there you go. That's my summary of the whole thing. I don't know if there's anything else to add, but... yes? No? I presume not. Stop me if you want to say.
No,
right,
works for me.
Okay, dokie. Well, before we end up, of course, I got to say massive thanks to... paroxsym, yeah, let's start with you for joining in. Those of you that don't know, paroxsym, of course, a fellow content creator on YouTube and all that stuff. You can look him up by name, even though you might need to just click on a couple of things, but whatever, you can find him on YouTube anyways. Obsidian and the great and one and only. No, that's me. I just say the one and only, yes. I shall not give anyone the title I get. Or whatever.
It's
Obsidian Ant.
The man, the voice, the ant.
Hey, Turgeon's back.
There you are.
So,
You know, Ant, in one of my videos, I said something about you and I called you the infamous Obsidian Ant. Everybody was like, well, what did he do? And I was like, oh my God, it was a joke. Everybody's all of a sudden like, you know, what are you calling an ant for, right? I was like, no, it was just a joke. Calm down.
Was it about him? I do remember Obsidian calling me that, but
yeah, but
okay.
That works, doesn't it? TheYamiks.
Oh yes, of course it does.
Yeah, that's it.
I am the great and powerful one. Anyways, so also big thanks to Turgeon for, I guess, popping in from time to time as well. So,
yeah, cheers.
Indeed, and Exigeous, who, as a matter of fact, today or yesterday or days ago, well, reached the 10,000 subscribers. So congratulations there, buddy.
Thank you. It was this morning.
So, well, there you go. All these fuckers are found on YouTube's. Wait, what was my name? I forgot.
the great and powerful Yamiks, I think we decided.
Maybe, yes, right. So there you go. That'd be me. So thanks, people, for joining in. Of course, do let us know what you would like to see for the content creators table for the next week. And we'll be coming back on Friday about the same time, on 5 p.m. GMT 0. So
okay, and for everyone else, make sure you hang around for a few bits, because I think most of us will probably be talking to our own streams.
I'll do a couple of
my stream, definitely.
Yeah, I'll do a couple of
Yeah,
thanks
I'm
and all that
actually,
stuff.
yeah, I'm actually going to be starting up a stream here in about 15 minutes or so. Going to be visiting the Thargoid sites for the people that haven't been.
Oh, in any case, do whatever you want. I'll be leaving you to it. And once more, thanks for tuning in. At least for the discussion partners here and everyone else as well. Remember, we're staying online for a little bit more for a couple of thanks and all the little endings and what else. But that's about it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on next Friday.
Thanks, everybody.
See you, everyone.
Catch you all soon. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
And there we go. So that is the official part. Okay, we gotta put on alerts back online and all that stuff, so it gets. So next time that tips and other things come in, yeah, that. So don't forget to say thanks and all that stuff. But anyways, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it all, and looks like just like previous time, I didn't get any tips, so there's no one to really say thanks. So I guess there's that. Well, I guess I should say thanks for watching. Senses and all that stuff. So even though the patch itself looks very barren, at least we have 2 ships, I guess, to play with for a while. And well, the Guardian stuff, Guardian blueprints aren't as demonstrable, so well, you can go with those. But other than that, and just as I said, more smoothies for me boys. Guy Fawkes did. Thank you. Well, well, there is that indeed. So thank you so much. Well, let's see what else. Any other questions before I end the stream, and I'll leave you to your devices and all that stuff. Oh, before I forget, of course, do take a look at other participant channels. They are found on YouTube and all that stuff. And hey, if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. And oh, and yeah, I didn't mention this during the whole thing, but I did reach 44,000 subscribers just this morning. So thank you all. Indeed, you warm me blackened heart and all that stuff. But yeah. Oh, and of course, if you want to support me, just like well, all the generous folks doing tips and all that stuff, there's super chats for that on the YouTubes, and there's Streamlabs for wherever you are. There's a link down below the stream, and of course, for monthly contributions, there's always Patreon. So, thank you all, and yeah, I shall see you then. I think tomorrow. I'll be doing a little bit of streaming tomorrow. I want to do some actually Challenger testing, because I didn't really play with Challenger. Yesterday the stream the game borked itself, so yeah. Oh well, so Challenger for tomorrow. In that case, well, I'll be seeing you then doing that tomorrow. Anyways, thanks for watching, and take care, and have a wonderful Friday, and of course, also, what the fuck is this fucking music? God damn it, no lullabies, fuck off. There you go.